Welcome back, everyone. We're diving deep today into something pretty amazing, brain rewiring.
It's really a fascinating topic,
It's like we always hear about the power of positive thinking,
right?
but this goes way beyond that. This is about actually changing the physical structure and function of our brains.
Absolutely. It's based on this concept called neuroplasticity.
Neuroplasticity. Okay, so that's the key word here.
Yeah,
So, like, our brains aren't fixed. They're constantly changing and adapting.
exactly. And one of the most powerful ways to reshape our brains is through repetition.
Okay, so repetition, like practice makes perfect.
Yeah, think about it. We repeat thoughts all the time, sometimes without even realizing
Oh,
it.
yeah, for sure. Like, if you're always thinking negative thoughts, that's going to become a habit, right?
Exactly. Those neural pathways get stronger. But the good news is the same thing happens with positive thoughts.
Okay, so it's like we're training our brains.
Yes, exactly.
But this isn't just about conscious thoughts, right? The material we're looking at today goes deep into how much of what drives us is actually happening unconsciously.
Absolutely. Unconscious thoughts become beliefs.
Right.
And those beliefs drive our choices and behaviors.
So it's like there's this whole hidden world operating beneath the surface.
Yes, exactly. It's like an iceberg.
Oh, okay.
The conscious mind is just the tip. But below the surface, there's this vast network of unconscious beliefs,
Right.
and they're running the show.
Wow. So how do we even become aware of these unconscious beliefs if they're unconscious?
Well, one way is to pay attention to our emotions.
Okay.
When we feel a strong emotional charge, whether it's anger, fear, or even joy, it's often a sign that an unconscious belief has been triggered.
Interesting. So let's say I get really anxious every time I have to give a presentation at work.
Right.
That anxiety could be pointing to some unconscious belief.
Exactly. Like maybe a belief that you're not good enough or that people will judge you.
Right. Yeah, I can see that.
And once you start to identify those beliefs, you can start to question them.
Okay.
Are they really true?
Right.
Do they serve you?
Yeah.
And if not, how can you start to rewrite the script?
So that brings us to this really exciting part, the idea that we can actually reprogram our brains.
Yes.
And the material we're diving into today highlights some really fascinating techniques for doing just that.
Absolutely. And there's real science behind it. One of the most powerful tools is mental rehearsal.
Mental rehearsal, okay.
It's amazing how the brain can't really tell the difference between a vividly imagined experience
Huh.
and an actual one.
So if I imagine myself giving a killer presentation, like really feeling that confidence,
Right.
my brain starts to create new neural pathways as if it were really happening.
Exactly. It's like practicing for a marathon.
Okay.
The more you train, the stronger you become.
So we're training our brains to respond differently.
Yes, exactly.
I love that analogy. So mental rehearsal is one powerful tool. What are some others? The material mentions breath work and meditation a lot.
Yes.
I have to admit, I'm a little skeptical. Does that stuff really work?
Yeah, I understand the skepticism.
Like, I know it's supposed to be good for relaxation,
Right.
but can it really change your brain?
Well, I can assure you there's solid scientific evidence. They're not just about relaxation.
Oh, okay.
They actually have profound effects on the brain and body.
Okay, tell me more.
Well, let's start with breath work. It's such a simple but powerful tool. Our breath is directly connected to our nervous system.
Okay, yeah.
And when we're stressed, our breathing becomes shallow and rapid.
Right, right.
But when we consciously slow down and deepen our breath, we send a signal to the brain that everything is okay.
So just taking a few deep breaths can actually calm our nerves and quiet the mind.
Exactly. And the research shows that even 1 minute of focused breathing can have a significant impact.
Wow, 1 minute.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
Okay, so what about meditation?
Meditation is like a workout for the mind.
Oh,
It
yeah.
helps us train our attention,
Right.
cultivate awareness,
Okay.
develop emotional regulation.
Interesting.
And it's been shown to increase gray matter in the brain,
Right.
reduce activity in the amygdala.
The amygdala, that's the fear center, right?
Yes, exactly. And it improves overall cognitive function.
So it's not just about sitting on a cushion chanting Om for hours on end.
Not at all. There are many different types of meditation,
Okay.
and you don't have to be a monk to benefit from it.
Right.
Even just a few minutes a day can make a difference.
So, okay, breath work, meditation, these are powerful tools. But let's be real. We live in a stressful world.
Right.
How can we possibly stay calm and centered when we're constantly bombarded with demands and deadlines?
That's a great question. And the material we're looking at today really dives into the very real challenges of stress
Okay.
and its impact on our ability to change. It explains how prolonged stress actually keeps us trapped in survival mode.
Survival mode.
Yes, which makes it hard to access those higher brain functions that we need for creativity and emotional regulation.
So it's like we're constantly in fight or flight mode.
Exactly, even when there's no real danger present.
Wow, that's exhausting.
It is, and it takes a toll on our bodies and minds. It can lead to anxiety, depression, insomnia, all sorts of health issues.
So what can we do about it? How do we break free from that stress cycle?
Well, the first step is awareness.
Okay,
We need to recognize when we're in that stressed out state
right.
and make a conscious effort to shift our physiology. And that's where breathwork and meditation can be really helpful.
Okay, so we're building resilience to stress
Yes.
by training our brains and bodies to respond differently.
Exactly. Instead of going into panic mode,
Okay.
we can learn to stay calm and centered.
Okay, so that's the stress response.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets really interesting. There's growing evidence that the heart actually plays a key role in all of this.
Yes, it's fascinating. We tend to think of the heart as just a pump, but it's so much more than that.
I've heard about this. It's like the heart has its own intelligence, right?
Exactly. The heart actually has its own nervous system,
Why?
and it sends more signals to the brain than the brain sends to the heart.
Whoa, so the heart is actually calling the shots in a lot of ways.
In a sense, yes. And what's even more incredible is that the heart generates a powerful electromagnetic field.
Wait, the heart is like a walking magnet.
Exactly. And the quality of that magnetic field is directly influenced by our emotional state.
Okay, so if we're feeling stressed or anxious, our heart is emitting a chaotic signal.
Yes, and that can disrupt the coherence of our brainwaves
Huh.
and interfere with our ability to think clearly.
Wow. I had no idea the heart had such a powerful influence on the brain. So how do we cultivate a more coherent heart field?
That's where positive emotions come in. Feelings like love, gratitude, joy, compassion,
Okay.
they generate a very different kind of energy.
So our heart is kind of like a tuning fork.
Exactly. And the more we cultivate those positive emotions, the more we strengthen that heart-brain connection.
Okay, that is fascinating. So we've talked about repetition, unconscious beliefs, mental rehearsal, breath work, meditation, the stress response, and now the heart-brain connection. That's a lot.
It is a lot.
So what's the key takeaway here? What do we really need to know about rewiring our brains?
The most important message is that you're not stuck.
Okay.
Your brain is not fixed. You have the power to change your thoughts, your feelings, and your behaviors. And in doing so, you can create a happier, healthier, and more fulfilling life.
I love that. So we have more control over our lives than we often realize.
Absolutely.
And that is incredibly empowering.
It is.
It's so empowering to realize that we're not just victims of our circumstances, like we actually have the power to change our brains, which means we have the power to change our lives.
Exactly.
But it's not always easy, right?
No, it's not.
Change can be challenging,
It can.
especially when we're talking about these deeply ingrained patterns.
Right. But the good news is our brains are wired for growth. Like we have this built-in capacity for transformation.
Okay, so we're not fighting against our own biology here.
No, not at all. In fact, our brains are constantly seeking new information, new experiences. They thrive on novelty and challenge.
Oh, interesting. So that's why it's good to, like, learn new things,
Exactly.
travel to new places, step outside of our comfort zones.
Right. It's all about breaking out of those routines and introducing new challenges. And, the great thing is these activities don't have to be like complicated or time-consuming. Even small changes can make a big difference over time.
Okay, so novelty and challenge are important. But what about those times when we feel stuck?
Yeah.
Like we're just going through the motions,
Right.
and we've lost that sense of excitement, that sense of purpose.
That's a really common experience. And it
Mhm.
often stems from those unconscious beliefs that we were talking about earlier. It's like we've bought into this limited story about ourselves,
Right.
and we're living within the confines of that story.
It's like we've created this mental prison for ourselves.
Exactly. And the key to breaking free is to become aware of those bars that are holding us captive.
Okay, so what are those limiting beliefs that are keeping us stuck?
Things like, I'm not good enough.
Right.
I'm not worthy.
Yeah.
I'm not capable of achieving my dreams.
Those kinds of things. yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, those are the classic examples.
And how do we challenge those beliefs? Like, how do we rewrite the story?
Well, one powerful technique is affirmations.
Affirmations, okay.
Yeah, these are positive statements that we repeat to ourselves, either out loud or silently.
Okay.
It might sound kind of cheesy at first,
Yeah.
but they can be incredibly effective
Okay.
for reprogramming the subconscious mind.
So instead of saying, I'm not good enough,
Mm.
I would say something like, I am worthy, I am capable.
Exactly. I'm deserving of success.
Right.
And the key is to really feel it as you're saying it. Don't just like repeat the words mechanically. Put your heart and soul into it. Imagine yourself living as if that affirmation were already true.
So we're creating a new neural pathway
Yeah.
by repeatedly firing these positive statements.
Exactly. And the more you do it, the stronger that pathway becomes.
I like that. So affirmations are one tool. What are some others?
Visualization is another powerful technique.
Visualization.
Creating the life you want in your mind.
Right.
It's based on the principle that the brain can't always distinguish between a vividly imagined experience
Okay.
and an actual one.
So if I vividly imagine myself achieving my goals, my brain starts to create those neural pathways.
Exactly. It's like a mental rehearsal for success.
I love that.
And the more we engage in that mental rehearsal, the more we're preparing our brains for the real thing.
It's like we're priming our brains for success.
Yes, exactly.
But how do we make those visualizations really vivid?
That's a great question.
Like, how do we really make them powerful?
Well, it's all about engaging the senses. Don't just see the image in your mind's eye, but feel it in your body. Hear the sounds, smell the scents, taste the flavors.
Okay, so the more senses you involve, the more real it's going to feel.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay.
So we've got affirmations, visualizations. These are great tools for rewiring the brain.
Yeah.
But what about the emotional side of things?
Yeah.
Like, we can't just think our way to happiness, right?
You're absolutely right. Emotions play a huge role in shaping our reality.
Right,
And one of the most important things we can do is cultivate positive emotions.
right. Like gratitude.
Yes, gratitude, joy, love, compassion.
I've heard that gratitude is so powerful. How does that actually work?
Well, gratitude shifts our focus from what we lack to what we have.
Okay.
It helps us appreciate the good things in our lives, even in the midst of challenges.
So instead of dwelling on problems, we can focus on what we're grateful for.
Exactly. And there's a lot of research to support the benefits of gratitude.
Right.
It's been shown to reduce stress, improve sleep, boost immunity, even increase happiness levels.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So how do we cultivate more gratitude in our lives?
One simple practice is to keep a gratitude journal.
Okay.
Every day, write down 3 things you're grateful for.
Okay.
They can be big or small.
Right.
The important thing is to really savor the feeling of gratitude
I like that.
as you're writing them down.
What about joy? How can we cultivate more joy in our lives?
Well, joy is about finding those moments of delight and wonder
Okay.
in everyday life.
Yeah.
Savoring a beautiful sunset, listening to your favorite music,
Right.
spending time with loved ones, engaging in activities that light you up.
So it's about making time for the things that bring us pleasure.
Absolutely. And it's about being present in those moments.
Right, because often we're so caught up in our thoughts.
Yeah.
We miss out on the good stuff that's right in front of us.
It's a common trap, yeah. But the more we practice mindfulness, the more we can train ourselves to be present and savor those moments of joy.
Okay, so gratitude, joy. What about love and compassion? How do those emotions fit into the picture?
Well, love and compassion are essential for rewiring the brain for happiness.
Okay.
Love connects us to others, to ourselves, to something greater than ourselves.
So it's not just about feeling good, it's about being good.
Exactly. Love and compassion aren't just emotions, they're actions. It's about how we treat ourselves, how we treat others, and how we show up in the world.
I love that. It's like, be the change you want to see in the world.
Exactly. And it all starts with rewiring our brains for kindness, compassion, and love.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Repetition, unconscious beliefs, mental rehearsal, breath work, meditation, stress response, heart-brain connection, cultivating those positive emotions.
It's a lot. Yeah.
What are some key takeaways for our listener?
The main takeaway is that we have much more power over our brains and our lives than we often realize. We're not stuck with the brain we were born with. We can change our thoughts, our beliefs, our behaviors.
So it's really about taking responsibility
Yes,
for our own happiness and well-being.
exactly. And it's about understanding that change is a process. It's not a destination. There will be ups and downs. There will be moments of progress and moments of setbacks.
Right.
But the important thing is to keep moving forward, keep learning, and keep growing.
And to remember that we're not alone in this journey.
Absolutely not.
There are so many resources available to support us, including the material that we've been discussing today.
It is.
It's so inspiring to think that we can actually, rewire our brains for greater happiness, health, fulfillment. But where do we even start? What are some practical steps we can take to put all of this knowledge into action?
Well, one of the most important things is to create a supportive environment for change.
Okay.
Our surroundings have a huge impact on our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors.
So if we're constantly surrounded by negativity, it's going to be that much harder to rewire our brains for positivity.
Exactly. It's like trying to grow a garden in a desert.
Right.
You need to create fertile ground for those new thought patterns to take root.
Okay, so what does that look like practically?
It can involve things like decluttering your physical space,
Okay.
creating a calming and inspiring home environment, surrounding yourself with positive people, limiting exposure to negative news and media.
So it's like we're creating this sanctuary
Yes,
for our minds and bodies, a place where we can feel safe and supported as we embark on this journey of transformation.
exactly. And once we have that foundation in place, we can start to incorporate specific practices that support brain rewiring.
Okay.
We've already talked about breath work and meditation,
Right.
but there are many other tools and techniques that can be helpful.
Like what?
Well, journaling is a powerful practice.
Okay.
Writing down your thoughts and feelings can help process emotions, gain clarity, and identify those limiting beliefs.
It's like we're creating a written record
Yes,
of our transformation.
exactly. And another powerful tool is movement. Okay. Exercise has been shown to have profound effects on the brain. It releases endorphins, which have mood-boosting effects, and stimulates the growth of new brain cells.
So getting our bodies moving can actually help us rewire our brains.
Absolutely. And it doesn't have to be strenuous exercise. Even a brisk walk in nature can do wonders for our mental and emotional well-being.
That's great. I love that.
Yeah.
What about nutrition? Does what we eat affect our brains?
Absolutely. The food we consume provides the building blocks for our brains.
Okay.
A diet rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, healthy fats supports optimal brain function,
Right.
while a diet high in processed foods, sugar, and unhealthy fats can impair brain function.
So it's like we're feeding our brains
Yes.
with the nutrients they need to thrive.
Exactly. And there are specific foods that have been shown to be particularly beneficial for brain health, like blueberries, salmon, walnuts, dark chocolate.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got supportive environment, journaling, movement, nutrition. What else? Ah, yes. Sleep. The material also mentions the importance of sleep.
Yes, sleep is crucial for brain rewiring. When we sleep, our brains consolidate memories, clear out toxins, and repair damaged cells.
So it's like our brains are doing this major overhaul
Yes,
while we're sleeping.
exactly. And when we don't get enough sleep, our cognitive function suffers. We're more likely to feel stressed, irritable, and make poor decisions.
Okay, that makes sense. I know I'm definitely not my best self when I'm sleep deprived, so how much sleep do we need?
Most adults need between 7 and 9 hours of quality sleep per night. And it's not just about the quantity, but also the quality of sleep.
So what can we do to improve our sleep quality?
Well, establishing a regular sleep schedule, creating a relaxing bedtime routine, avoiding caffeine and alcohol before bed, and making sure the bedroom is dark, quiet, and cool.
Okay, that makes sense. So we've covered a lot of practical tips for rewiring our brains, but I think it's important to acknowledge this is a journey, not a destination. There will be times when we fall back into old patterns. We feel discouraged, we doubt ourselves. What do we do in those moments?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's important to be patient with ourselves and remember that change takes time. There will be setbacks along the way, but that doesn't mean we're failing. It's all part of the process.
So it's like learning to ride a bike.
Yeah,
We're going to fall a few times before we master it.
exactly. And the key is to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and keep practicing. And also, it's important to celebrate our successes no matter how small they may seem.
Yes, it's so easy to focus on what we haven't accomplished yet,
Right.
but it's equally important to acknowledge how far we've come.
Absolutely. And remember, you're not alone on this journey. There are so many resources available to support you, including books, online courses, support groups, therapists.
Yes, it's so great to have a community of like-minded people who are also committed to personal growth and transformation.
And as we continue on this path of self-discovery and brain rewiring, we'll not only transform our own lives, but we'll also inspire others to do the same.
That's the beauty of it. It's like a ripple effect.
Yes.
As we become more loving, compassionate, and joyful, we spread that energy out into the world.
Exactly. And that's what it's all about, ultimately. Creating a more loving, peaceful, and harmonious world, one brain at a time.
What an amazing journey this has been. It's incredible to think that we have the power to rewire our brains for greater happiness, health, and fulfillment, and it's